Welcome back. This lesson is on line plots, which is a different type of graph for us. So get your learning target written down, 6SP4, display numerical data in plots on a number line, including line plots, histograms, and box plots. That's what we're going to get to later this week. And then our I can statement, I can display data using a line plot and can use a line plot to calculate different measures of central tendency. Remember, those measures are the mean, median, mode, range, those kind of things that measure the center of the data.
All right, one way to give a picture of data is to make a line plot. A line plot is not a line graph. They're completely different. A line plot is a visual display of a distribution of data values where each data value is shown as a dot or a mark. A line plot is also known as a dot plot. We're not using dots. We're going to use X's just because it's clear for everyone to see. All right, our example one. Students in one class recorded how many first cousins each student had, and here are the results below. Draw a label, a number line that includes the least and greatest data values. Place as many X's above each number as there are responses for that number.
So we have the number line already set up for you. It goes all the way from a 1 to a 7 because we have some 1s and some 7s in there. But notice every number in between is listed, not just the ones that may or may not appear in the data, but you go from the lowest to the highest and list everything in between.
No spaces.
All right. Do you want to do it one at a time, or should we do clumps and get all the ones and then get all the twos?
I do it by clumps. I'll do it.
That's fine. So first we're going to figure out how many ones we have. I see 1, 2. So we're going to put 2 X's, and we stack the X's on top of each other. Basically, the taller the stack, the more that number happened to appear. I scan through. I don't see any 2's, so 2's are just going to stay empty. Then we've got 1, 3. As you're drawing your X's, try to make each X the same height so that you can kind of tell when there's more or less. If one of them is really big, it kind of throws everything off. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We've got a lot of 5's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5's.
So if you're drawing 6 of them, it should be taller than the stack that's 5 of them.
And then 4 6's.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And 3 7's.
Some people like to just kind of read through the data and just put each one at a time, and then each of the columns gets larger as they get more of them. That's entirely up to you. Don't forget to put a title for your graph, like any good graph. We're talking about the number of first cousins, so we should have a title on it. Number, that is a U there if you can't tell, of first cousins. And all right, that was pretty bad, sorry. Notice there's some easy things you can kind of figure out. We can kind of notice there's a lot of data that fell right between 4 and 5. That's where most of them are.
Our
If somebody
range
asks
is
your
easy.
Yep.
7 minus 1 is 6, so it's not spread out.
7 minus
1 is 6.
Okay.
Sorry. It's not a spread out.
The mode is easy to recognize. It's the tallest stack, so our mode would be 5. So a line plot is a great way to organize the data in a visual way that we can kind of see all the different parts to it.
All right, phone calls. For the next month, the 5th graders kept a record of how many times they called one of their first cousins on the phone. Some of you have first cousins, some of you may not. But we need to start off, you want to put a title on the bottom maybe?
Let's put a title. So
phone calls.
Phone calls to
I do that first
cousins.
so that I don't forget.
Because otherwise you're going to forget.
All right.
Then we got to figure out our lowest and our highest.
I got a
see
0.
0. Anything higher than a 6?
No, which means it's a very small number line.
So
Remember,
from
every
0,
number
1,
needs to be on there.
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we start to place our X's. So you can do one at a time if you want. But I'm going to take all my zeros. I got 1, 2 zeros.
I see 4
1,
ones.
2, 3, 4. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
That's
7
going to be
twos.
the mode. Holy cow.
2, 3. So notice how my 4 is equal to my 4 here. 5, 6. It was 7, right?
Yeah.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sure it's really interesting watching me count X's.
Interesting enough, though, with the 0 to 6 on the number line, you're not going to have any outliers. The data is going to be closely grouped together based
2
on our number line.
4s.
Oh, no 5s
No
and
5s
1 6.
and 1 6. So now it asks us to do a little bit of analyzing with our data.
How many students made at least one phone call to their first student? So there's that at least again.
I like that coming back.
Woo!
That means greater than or equal to 1. So basically everything from a 1 or more.
So we have 4 ones.
4. We had 7, 5, 2,
and 1. Adding them together, you have 3 and 5 is 8 plus 11. It's 19 students.
Now it wants us to find the median, the mode, the range, and any outliers.
Oh, we are going to find outliers.
So as Mrs. King pointed out, 6 is the only one that's not next to the rest of the data, but it's really close to it, so it's not really going to help us with this one.
I got it. Mode. 2.
The mode is 2, which one occurs the most. The range is another easy one.
6.
Goes from 0 to 6, so that's a 6. The median is going to take a little bit of work.
He's going to go high and low and change his color first.
So let's do yellow. So basically, they're already in order, but they're in order based on x's. So you just cross out from either end and kind of work your way back. So get rid of 1, get rid of another one, and another. As long as you're going from the same column, it doesn't matter whether you're going from the top or the bottom, because they're all the same numbers.
Well, you know, it's also going to be 7.
So if I can keep doing it, but it's not going to be 7. It's going to be 2.
Oh, 2. That's what I meant. Our median, and my point was that the median and the mode is the same. When the data is closely grouped together, you should expect that. So
we found our median, our mode, our range, and in this case, we didn't have any outliers. There wasn't a number far enough away from everything else to count as an outlier.
All right. Have a good night.